So then, after all the hype, all the anticipation, all the eagerness, all the excitement, the Snyder Cut trailer finally arrived. And I guess it was okay. Hello everyone, this is KEATON Entertainment and we are back again, and we're now going to talk about the Justice League and the Snyder Cut. And after all the hype and anticipation, the official trailer finally dropped online. As of making this video, this is around about 5:15 UK time. Now, there was some confusion over this because I believe if you go on Zack Synder'S official Twitter profile, there was a general countdown, and me, just like everybody else, we were all waiting to see exactly what time the trailer would officially drop. Now, I think apparently what happened was it did actually leak online. I don't know whether it was an international version, but it leaked online a lot sooner than what was originally intended, I believe. So I think they've just dropped the trailer now. We get this so many times when a project is waiting for the trailer to come through, it leaks online or a bootleg version surfaces online and they think might as well just release the actual version. So I think that's what's happened here. So that was a bit of confusion going ahead forward for this trailer, but it's here now, it's with us. So I'm going to give my original thoughts and breakdown and review over this trailer. Now, my first initial instinct when I watched the trailer was that it was alright. It was okay. It wasn't nothing spectacular, even though we had loads of visual shots and loads of CGI and special effects, lots of epic driven music. I'm pretty sure loads of people will be super hyped about it, but my initial thoughts were, yeah, it was alright. It wasn't groundbreaking, it wasn't spectacular. To be honest, a lot of the footage from the trailer is what we'd already seen from the actual movie, and I'll go through that just in a minute when we talk about the breakdown. So a lot of it we'd seen already, so there was nothing big, I think, in terms of revelation, if you want to count the final scene, but I'll comment on that as well later on. But there wasn't nothing that revealing. I think we do have to give the caveat here that this is really an extended version of a story we already know. This is not a new movie. I think that's what I need to kind of grasp, and I think a lot of people need to realise this is not a new movie as such. This is more of an extended version of what we've seen already, with a few extra scenes and bits and pieces added together. But now I'm going to go through the trailer. So obviously, spoilers if you haven't seen Justice League or the Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, any other DC movie within the DC universe. I probably will mention spoilers as I talk about this trailer, so you have been warned now. So I'm not going to go through the whole trailer chronologically because, as I said, there were a lot of scenes and images that we'd seen already, so it's not worth going over those again. Now, you can check out my other trailer review of the teaser trailer that, if you remember, debuted way back in August last year on a DC fandom, and I will leave the link to that trailer within the description of this video. So I'm just going to pick out what I thought were the standout moments within this trailer. So if we look, first of all, we get the opening scene and we see the seemingly resurrection of Superman again. If you remember from Batman vs Superman, he died at the end, and we know from Justice League he was resuscitated. In a Joss Whedon version, Superman came back in his traditional costume of the red, blue and yellow, of course, but the original plan from the Snyder story was that Superman was going to come back in the black version of his suit, and he was going to be very much under the control of Darkseid, and we were going to get an evil Superman battling against the Justice League. So this scene here is pretty much the resurrection of Superman following his death at the hands of Doomsday. And I've got to say, I think the music was a bit weird that appeared from this scene here. We get a circular kind of orb surrounding this image as Henry Cavill's been revived. And also, if you look at his body looks like rendered. It doesn't look real. If you look at, as the shot zooms in on this image, it looks a bit computerized. It doesn't look completely real. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, it looks a bit weird. I think it's the whole orb effect, the whole aura effect that's glowing in his body. It gives the feeling that the image is rather computerized. that was my first initial thoughts on that shot here. We get some nice shots here of Gotham City. Looks very nice, very stylish, very HD rendered amongst the destruction. So again, this must be following the battle of Batman versus Superman, it looks like, because you see there are some destroyed buildings, and we all know, for some reason, I don't know why they decided to do this, they decided to have Gotham and Metropolis literally across the harbour from one another. We then get another shot here. I think it's Themyscira. We all know from the movie was probably one of the best sequences of the entire Justice League movie is when the Amazonians come under the attack of Steppenwolf. So I guess what we see here when we see, I think it's Hippolyta looking over the horizon, and then we get another shot here where we see the building coming through. Now, obviously, that's going to be extension of the sequence where Steppenwolf gets the mother boxes. So that's just an extension of that sequence. That's fine. We get the next shot here of Affleck in the nightmare vision that we saw, of course, from Batman versus Superman. We see more of the apocalypsians coming forwards there. Nothing real special on here. The next revealing shot is that we see Gal Gadot's Diana Prince going under the temple. We saw a clip of this in the teaser trailer, but we get much more scenery here. And I think this is just them coming to the realization of who Darkseid is. We see that image that she's looking at on here. So, of course, this is alluding to the fact that Darkseid and the Apocalypse people have been around for a long time. We of course had that huge prologue battle at Justice League as well, so nothing too relatively here. We know about this already. Now, the real money shot here, where we get the full reveal of Darkseid, we see the Apocalypse. This must be on planet Apocalypse, surely, where we see Darkseid walking. This must be a prologue sequence, because this is alluding again to the initial battle. We see Darkseid here strolling through here. This is probably the Apocalypse beginning the onslaught of planet Earth. So you see all the troops here ready to go. Darkseid is walking towards leading the charge. So that's what I think is going on here. And then we later on get the full shot of Darkseid. He looks alright. I mean, obviously he's got this segmented armour on here. He's got the famous red glowing eyes. You can see the Omega symbol within his chest. It's not a bad design. You've got some of the wristbands on here. The kind of lower part of the costume is all segmented. This is the kind of Zack Synder's visual style. He puts so many details and segments. I think he overloads it, to be honest, in terms of the costume design of these characters. So it looks okay. And then, of course, you've got on flanking him on the left and the right side, that is surely now Desard. As everybody knows, he's one of the biggest lieutenants of Darkseid's armies on the left side. And again, as I mentioned before, look at his design. You've got so much armor and it's got so many segments and bits and pieces added to it. Looks okay, I suppose. And then obviously on the right side of Darkseid, that is clearly Granny Goodness. Now, if anybody doesn't know who Granny Goodness is, she's essentially the main leader of Darkseid's super villains called the Furies, right? That's when you have the likes of Big Barda involved as well. So if you want any more kind of input, just go and watch any Justice League or Justice Unleashed Unlimited episodes. Also, you can watch the Superman and Batman Apocalypse animated feature. So the Furies feature heavily on those as well. So that's Granny Goodness on there as well. I don't think it should have a main prominent part. Like I said, this will just be part of the big prologue sequence. So we go on to the next scene, and then we see If you didn't know, they've redesigned the look of Steppenwolf, following the very, I would say, disastrous look that he had on the Justice League movie that was on the theatrical release. So here we have an upgraded version. And again, it reiterates what I'm saying about Zack Snyder and his design within his characters. And he's got this much more heavier armor. He's got all of these spikes and loads of details and segments here. And then we see that he's leaning towards the vision of Darkseid. So that's not the actual Darkseid. That's just like a protection. I think this is Darkseid giving his order to Steppenwolf to combat the Earth and get all the mother boxes. So here he hasn't got his helmet. So again, this is again a prologue sequence. So when we see Steppenwolf later, he's got the helmet to cover the horns. Yeah, it doesn't look convincing to me, but each to their own. So we got a shot here of Cyborg with the cannon on his shoulder. So he didn't have that in the original version. They've just added in the footage and the CGI on that version here. Not too much relatively issues on here. Again, as I mentioned before, if you look at the cyborg design here, again, very slimline, semi-trim. Why they could have just had the more traditional design that we see from the animation and the comics as well, I don't understand, but nothing too special on here. We, of course, as I mentioned before, we see the Batmobile, and it's got now much that blue filter. If you remember from the Justice League version, everything had that really red-orange filter. It just didn't seem right. So the blue filter, I think, complements the sequence a lot better. We get a few shots of here of Steppenwolf running through and battling through, again, in that more detailed, and you can see here, if you can recollect the Steppenwolf scenes from the Joss Whedon version, you can see here how they've added a bit more, and we've got a lot more detail in terms of his ship, and you see his design here. Now he's got the armor. So we saw the earlier scene where he was more uncovered. Now we see here where he is more covered. So yeah, this looks pretty cool, visually very good. It looks here that he's battling Aquaman. If we slow it down, this is just a further extension or recreation of when the Justice League fight Steppenwolf. So nothing too extensive on here. And this is the other footage where we see the Justice League surrounded around, and we see the image of Superman. Now, this is of course going to allude to when they begin their plans to resurrect the character. Remember, we saw that from the Justice League film on here as well. So again, this is nothing too special. We knew this already. We saw this a bit in the teaser trailer where we saw Bruce Wayne looking at the image. This is the Justice League just looking around and just seeing that Superman is still existing or alive, and this is a visual image on here. So they're all discussing their plans to resurrect the character. We see the Jonathan Kent picture diving into the water here. So this is essentially where they go into the Zod ship, if you remember from Man of Steel, because this is how they resurrected Zod. If you remember, Lex Luthor found Zod's body within the ship, he collated it and he used the DNA to build Doomsday, right? So he's got the picture here. So I'm not quite sure why the picture is here. Maybe this is a Justice League member. Maybe this is how they resurrect Superman, and they need to use the Jonathan Kent photo in order to trigger maybe Superman's consciousness. So we get this next shot here of Cyborg holding his hands up. And if you remember from the teaser trailer, there was that shot where Cyborg is seemingly putting down the rockets into the city. So I think this is a dream sequence. I think this is somehow some visualization of Cyborg maybe dreaming about how the world is going to be destroyed, a nightmare vision on his part. We see the resuscitated Superman talking to Lois, and of course, if you go back to the Justice League movie, he did meet up with Lois, even though it was a very shortened scene, and we saw him embrace together with Lois and Martha Kent. So this is going to be, I think, an extended passage of play here, and I think this is what the movie needed, because when you watch the Justice League movie, it was too quick, wasn't it? Superman gets resurrected, fights the Justice League, goes away, sees Lois for 1 minute, and then comes back in his original suit. It was just too short, massively underdeveloped. So we're obviously going to get much more development in terms of Superman coming back to his senses from the dark side and then hooking up with Lois and Martha Kent again. So that's no problem there. Much needed development on there as well. So this is really what I was excited most about, to see how they were going to do the dark Superman image and how much involved he would be. And so we see this image here of the fist. Now this is very reminiscent of the flight sequence, if you remember, from Man of Steel, when he's first learning to fly and he punches down the ground, and then you see the debris thrown off just to exhibit how much force he's using. And I think again this is alluding to the end credit scene of Batman vs Superman, where we see at the end the ground start to lift from his coffin, indicating that Superman wasn't dead. So this is what I was interested in. We see the ground move up here, and then we see shots here of Henry Cavill in the black suit, and yeah, I can't deny it, he looks cool. He looks good in the black suit Superman. Henry Cavill was never the problem in terms of the Superman interpretation. It was how the character was written and the tone and direction that they used for the character. It was all wrong, this whole deconstructive take. I've commented so many times, I've covered this issue, but Henry Cavill looking at Superman has never been a problem, you know, and I still think when you look at him in the shots here, I still hold out hope that he could still be a good Superman if given the right material. But it's got to be in a standalone movie, right? None of this nonsense about cameoing in Shazam or Black Adam. None of that nonsense. So Henry Cavill has got a good look on here. We're going to get more development here of Barry with his father. We saw hints of that in the original Joss Whedon version. Very short again. So we're going to get much more in terms of that. And that's good because that's much needed. And we all know the Flash movie is coming. And as far as we know, Ezra Miller is still in the lead role despite all the controversy. So again, this is good. This is good that we get some more time seemingly with these two because it helps build on the character of the Flash. One of the most interesting scenes where it looks like Cyborg is typing into the mother box. And as he types into the mother box, we see Flash coming on behind him. Now, I don't know if this is going into any of the time travel aspects of this movie, because as we all know, DC plans to introduce a multiverse and we're going to get the Flashpoint movie or elements of the Flashpoint storyline within the Flash movie. So when we see Flash popping up behind him, is this again something to do with time travel, or is it a case of Cyborg using the mother box and Flash is trying to stop him because he can see the effect it's having on Cyborg? Maybe it is that. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. We get another visual shot we haven't seen. So again, this is the prologue battle of the Justice League sequence where we see all the races battling against the invasion of the Apocalypse. So again, I think we're going to see a lot more investment in this battle, probably go on for a lot longer. We're going to see a lot more extended scenes, added effects. So yeah, no problem here. It looks good. From a visual standpoint, it does look good. I can't deny that too much. And then this is the money shot as well that got everybody excited. Again, I think, to be honest, they made a blunder, DC, because they released these clips a couple of days ago as little kind of appetizers for the trailer. It's like, why do that? Why not just wait till the trailer drops and show us these awesome moments? But we have one here again, the dark Superman in the black suit, his eyes lighting up and showing the heat vision on there. And once again, as I said before, Henry Cavill looks cool. This is a cool image. This is a cool sequence. And again, everybody hyped up about the black suit Superman. This might have been one of the most favorite parts of the trailer. So very good on here as well. And then we come on to the final bit that was tacked on here. For some reason, I don't know why, everybody is probably going to get amped up about the most. And this was the reveal of Jared Leto's Joker. Now, if you were following this, they did release some pictures a couple of days ago showing the changed look of Jared Leto's version of the Joker, where he's got longer hair. And I think he seems like he's some sort of jail cell. If you remember from the Suicide Squad, when he appeared, he had the much more shorter hair and the metal braces as well. Now, from my personal point of view, I'm not excited at all about the Joker. I think the Joker is just overused too much, and I think it really is a regressive step in terms of the fact that Batman has this huge rogues gallery. But yet again, we're going back to the Joker. Yet again, the fans are most excited about the Joker, they're most thrilled about the Joker, even though we've seen him adapted so many times in such a short space of time. But for some reason, this is going to be the money shot, if there was one, that everybody got excited at most. I don't know why, because when Jared Leto's Joker came in the Suicide Squad, most people hated it, right? And he was scorned upon a lot. And I know people are trying to create this narrative of this is the redemption story for Jared Leto's Joker. I don't see that. He's just going to be in a nightmare sequence again, which will be extended. I imagine he's only going to be in a movie for about 5 minutes tops, if that. And I'm not excited because it's got no bearing on the story. This is the Nightmare Vision, the story of the Justice League. For all the extensions that Zack Snyder's added, is going to be the Justice League fighting against Steppenwolf, right? So Joker being involved in it is going to have no bearing within the storyline. So for me, that's why I'm not as excited, because I know it's literally just going to be a fleeting moment. And like I said before, I'm tired of the Joker. I think he's just used too much. And again, this is the whole problem of DC, just going back to the same old tropes, the same old characters, what people look forward to the most. So yeah, I'm just not excited by the use of the Joker. It's not going to be a big deal in my opinion. So that's really it. That's the full kind of details of the Snyder Cut trailer. Those are the moments that for me stand out. Like I said before, I didn't do a literal beat for beat breakdown because a lot of it was footage we'd seen already. So just to summarise my overall thought, as I mentioned at the start of this video, it's okay. It's, you know, it's got all the epic moments, supposedly. I think it was edited too quickly. There were a lot of these action sequences that are almost blink if you missed them. Now, of course, they don't want to spoil the whole movie, so I'm pretty sure when we watch the whole 4-hour version, we're going to get a lot more surprises. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot more reveals. I mean, they spent, what, at least 70 million during this full version. So, yeah, they didn't want to show everything within this trailer, along with the teaser trailer that we got. Will we get another trailer? It's on, what is it going to debut on March the 18th? We may do, or maybe at worst a minute long another teaser trailer. I don't think it'll be a full on 2 to 3 minute trailer like this one. I think we'll get one more teaser trailer or quick little TV spot at the most. But overall thoughts, it's okay. Lots of action. Henry Cavill looks good in the black Superman suit. You can see there are some additions in terms of the effects, some improvements, better use of filters within the certain scenes in comparison to Joss Whedon version. It was good to see the Dark Side version, and at very least, we're going to get some visualization of Apocalypse and Desaad and Granny Goodness as well. But overall, it was okay. Now, anybody doesn't know my stance on the DC universe, I've never been enthusiastic about it. I think it adapted the characters in the wrong way. I still see the whole exercise of the Snyderverse as a massive failure, particularly if you compare to what was done with the Marvel characters and how they built their universe for the most part so exceptionally well, and then you see what's happened with the DC universe. To be honest, the whole thing's a mess. I'm not going to go through it all, you know, the whole thing with the Ray Fisher incident and the fact that we're getting the multiverse, and Michael Keaton was announced as the main Batman supposedly, but now he's not. Ben Affleck is coming back for an appearance. We've, of course, got the Patterson Batman version. Henry Cavill, is he in? Is he out? Is he in? Is he out? We're doing a Supergirl movie, then we're not doing a Supergirl movie. You know, we were supposedly doing a Batgirl movie, but I guess that's shot down now because of what happens with Joss Whedon. You know, it's just a mess. You know, I mean, even this trailer, the fact that it got leaked and it couldn't be dropped at the supposed time it was meant to be dropped. So, yeah, the whole DC cinematic universe of me is a mess. I'll leave links to multiple videos that I've done on the subject, whether it be trailers, the Snyder Cut, or how they've handled the Flashpoint movie as well. So you can check out all of those within my channel. So not to be too negative, I suppose if all the Snyder Cut fans, they will absolutely love what they've seen on screen here, and more power to them. If they're happy and they're satisfied with this trailer, then good for them, but for me, I just want to see the whole thing rebooted, start again, and you don't even hear a hint of any cinematic universe till you get Superman done right. You get Superman done right in terms of his characterization, and you can get a Superman that everybody is fully on board with, and then you use the building blocks from there. So overall, Snyder Cut trailer, okay, spectacular, lots of good music, but not overly excited, not overhyped, and we will see exactly what happens when we get the full film that comes out on March 18th. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Were you super hyped, as I'm sure a lot of you were? Are you like me? Were you a bit underwhelmed? Did you think this was nothing too special? Are you now just waiting to just see the Snyder Cut just for a sense of closure before we can really look to kind of reboot the whole universe and start again? Or do you think this would be really successful and that HBO Max should use to build off this and spin off maybe its future series or maybe streaming movies from this as well? Do you think the Snyderverse should continue, or do you think it's really reached its end now and we should look to move forward? So those are my thoughts. Please hit and like those subscribe buttons and help me grow more content for you in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves. Stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.